Let's be real for a second. The smartphone, the device that has defined our lives for over a decade, is on its way out. The tech giants who built their empires on that little glass rectangle are now locked in a frantic, high-stakes race to replace it. And this isn't just about some new shiny gadget. This is a war for the next interface to reality itself. So let's dive into the battle plans. Mark your calendars. It's February 23rd, 2026, and a smartphone has officially become the new pager. Now, that might sound like a crazy prediction, but the signal we've been tracking just hit a definitive inflection point. The biggest names in tech aren't just tweaking the phones in our pockets anymore. They're building what comes next. And you know who's leading the charge? The ultimate disruptor, OpenAI. Sam Altman isn't just creating a better chatbot. He's building a physical body for AI, something that can move beyond the confines of a text window and live in your home. Insiders are calling this the post-App Store rebellion. And here's their first shot across the bow, a rumored $200 smart speaker. But get this, it's designed by Johnny Ive, the guy who designed the iPhone and the iMac. This isn't just some tech demo, it's an aggressively priced, beautifully designed challenge aimed right at the heart of a market where even Apple's HomePod struggled. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. This thing isn't just a speaker, it's an observer. It uses video to see what's happening in your room, to recognize objects on your table, and to nudge you toward your goals. We're talking about a device that moves from just answering your questions to proactively shaping your behavior in real time. This really gets to the heart of the whole paradigm shift. We are moving out of an app-centric world where you have to find and open the right program for every little task. OpenAI's vision is a completely new agent-centric era where a proactive AI just anticipates what you need and takes care of your digital life for you. So how are they planning to pull this off? Well, it's a full-on assault. By building their own hardware, they get to bypass Apple's 30% Apple tax and all the limitations of iOS. They get direct, unthrottled access to the user's eyes and ears, and in a move that is just unbelievably bold, they've poached about 20% of Apple's AI team and are hijacking their key supply chain partners like Luxshare. This isn't just competition, it's a direct attack on Apple's fortress. But you don't lay siege to Apple's fortress and expect them to just sit there. Oh no, they've accelerated a devastating counteroffensive codenamed Project Iris. The goal? To turn the iPhone into a kind of nervous system for your digital life before anyone else can replace it. Apple's strategy is all about moving the interface from your hand to your face, and it's a three-part plan. First, you've got the ears, next-gen AirPods with cameras to gather visual data about your environment. Second, the heart, an AirTag-sized Siri pendant that's always on, always listening, a constant companion. And finally, the eyes, the Iris smart glasses, a lightweight device that gives you a display while your iPhone does all the heavy lifting. And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about here, look at this. The much-hyped Humane AI pin, it was a total flop, selling fewer than 10,000 units. Apple studied the burned fuselage of that launch and decided the problem wasn't the idea, it was the execution. They're planning an initial run of 20 million units for their own pin, betting that their massive ecosystem is the bridge to this post-smartphone world. But all that hardware is useless without a brain. And that's where Campos comes in. It's a total ground-up overhaul of Siri. And in a stunning move that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago, Apple is partnering with Google, using its Gemini AI to power a new Siri that can actually understand your personal context by looking through your own emails and messages. So how does Apple do that without it being incredibly creepy and slow? The answer is something they're calling a zero-latency architecture. By using the powerhouse A19 Pro chip, all of that sensitive personal data is processed right on your device, in milliseconds, not in the cloud. This makes the AI feel instantaneous, almost like an extension of your own mind, while playing right into Apple's biggest strength, privacy. So, while Apple is fortifying its castle, Mark Zuckerberg is over here building a trebuchet. Meta has entered into what can only be described as a blood pact with NVIDIA, and they aren't just trying to compete in this new world. They're trying to build the very ground it stands on. And listen, the ambition here it's just off the charts. Zuckerberg's goal isn't just to make a better AI assistant. He wants to use NVIDIA's next-gen Vera Rubin chips to, in his own words, deliver personal super intelligence to everyone in the world. Okay, let's get a little nerdy for a second. Meta's entire strategy is built on a concept called inference dominance. Basically, it's a brute force approach. They're trying to achieve a level of raw computational power and speed that nobody else can possibly match, all to win the AI race. And the tactic behind this is absolutely ruthless. See, the next generation of AI chips needs a new kind of superfast memory called HBM4. The problem is, a global shortage of this memory is coming. So what is Meta doing? They're buying up the world's supply. Their goal isn't just to build their own massive systems, it's to literally starve their rivals, like OpenAI, of the one resource they need to compete. Okay, so let's just step back and take a breath. What we have here are three giants spending hundreds of billions of dollars, each with a radically different vision for what our future looks like after the smartphone. So let's break down these three clashing visions. You've got OpenAI with its ambient AGI, trying to bypass the phone completely with an AI that lives in your house. Then there's Apple, with its on-device intelligence, wanting to make the iPhone the central nervous system for a whole new ecosystem of wearables. And finally, you have Meta, aiming for personal superintelligence, wanting to replace the phone with AR glasses powered by a silicon supply chain that they completely own and control. And look, this isn't some distant science fiction future we're talking about. It is happening right now. As you can see from this timeline, the battlefield's about to get very, very crowded over the next few years. The race to define the post-smartphone world is on. And that brings us to the real takeaway here. For the first time in more than a decade, the future is genuinely up for grabs. So the question isn't if the smartphone will be replaced, but by whom. When you finally look up from your screen, whose lens, whose AI, and whose vision of the world will you be looking through?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.